Hello folks, Sinow here. Many of you are probably encountering an issue in Lost Ark right now where you're running out of shards with which to hone your equipment. For instance, you might be running out of Harmony Shards for Tier 1 or Life Shards for those of you who are currently in Tier 2. You might find yourself running out of these and asking yourself, how can I get additional shards in order to keep upgrading? Often by the end of the tier you find that this is the kind of like gate that keeps you from progressing as fast as you like. You might find that you have a lot of honing stones, but you don't really have the shards to keep upgrading. And you might be asking yourself, how can I get extra shards to progress? Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you 8 tips in order to get extra shards. Do bear in mind that this video is not going to cover the basics, so you should know by now probably that you can do guardian raids and chaos dungeons daily, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff in order to get basic materials. This video tries to cover extra tips that I think some of you might have missed that will hopefully be helpful. And if you did find this video helpful, do consider leaving it a like afterwards. It helps me out quite a lot. Anyway, we're going to get on with the first tip, which some of you might not know this, some of you might, but you can actually get extra honing materials by doing chaos dungeons past your daily allowance. So usually you get 2 daily allowances for chaos dungeons and you accrue rest bonus over time as well if you don't do them for a while. That's all well and good, and you probably know that this is a way that you can get honing materials, but did you know that if you do chaos dungeons past your usual daily allowances, you can also obtain a different kind of currency that can be exchanged for extra shards? What you do is you continue to do your chaos dungeons and you'll pick up a different sort of currency that you can exchange with these exchange chaos dungeon shard NPCs. If you're in tier 1, you will find an NPC for this near the chaos dungeons in Vern. I'm in tier 2 at the moment and I'm in Phaeton, so the NPC is right here. Talk to her and you'll see that there's 3 tiers of exchanges that you can do depending on what tier of Chaos Dungeon you're currently doing, and you get a different sort of currency by doing these, like I said earlier, that you can exchange for a variety of honing materials. In particular, you can get Harmony or Life Shard pouches with this that are large size, containing 1,500 shards, and you can exchange this material, this Guardian Shard material, for these pouches up to 5 times per week. So do bear in mind that this has a weekly cap to it, but this is a great way to get extra honing materials, in particular these shards, but you can also get engravings as well. For the different tiers, you can get the stones that you need to actually upgrade, or you can get accessories with a different kind of currency that you will also get when you're doing the chaos dungeons past your daily limits, which can also be quite helpful. The second tip I can give you to earn extra honing materials is to do the tower. So the tower is a solo instance where you go up floor by floor, defeating the monsters there. Sometimes it's almost like a puzzle as opposed to defeating monsters, but it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward for the first part until the later floors where it can get quite difficult. There's a bit of a caveat when it comes to doing the tower for extra materials though. The first character that you do the tower on will have different rewards from any subsequent character that you do the tower on, and the first character that you do the tower on, you actually won't get honing materials or shards from it. So you can see on my screen here that actually a lot of the floors, the rewards they're giving me are card packs, expertise potion, engraving chests and pouches. It's giving me rapport items, a skill potion at floor 20, so it's worth doing this on a character regardless anyway. But when you actually do the tower on a secondary character, you get honing materials for it. So I'm going to switch to my alt just now to demonstrate this to you. Alright, so here I am on my Soul Fist alt, and when I click on the tower, you will notice that the rewards have drastically changed. So now for every floor here, I'm getting a Harmony Shard pouch medium, up until floor 4. It changes a little bit, but you can tell, right? It's really, really useful stuff for honing, and it makes it so much quicker. So I would really recommend doing the tower. In fact, a lot of people, their strategy was to do the tower on an alt first and then do the tower on their main in order to get more honing materials for your main, because you can't actually trade these, unfortunately. They are bound once you obtain them. But regardless, if you want to level up an alt really quickly, or if you want to do the tower on an alt and then do the tower on your main to get more honing materials on your main, this is actually a really, really, really good way of getting extra shards. So while I'm in Vern, I'll move on to tip number 3, which is to exchange your Simeal Bloodstones. Simeal Bloodstones are a form of currency that you can obtain by helping out your guild. For instance, doing daily guild donations down here in overview at the bottom right, you can donate to your guild some silver every day and it will give you 50 Simeal Bloodstones. You can also aid your guild in research as another way of getting Bloodstones, and you can take this currency currency to an NPC in order to exchange it for honing materials. So, for example, here in Vern, the NPC is right beside the Royal Guard. I believe this NPC is in other areas as well, but I will use this Vern NPC just to show you now. You talk to her and you will find that you can exchange these bloodstones for a variety of goodies, including honing materials, which is very convenient. You can see that there's a shard pouch listing here that has a 1 weekly limit that I could purchase. Unfortunately, your guild does have to have certain levels of research in order to unlock the other listings of shard pouches here, so they have to have level 2 in the guild shop research done in order to unlock this listing, and then level 4. But this is a really good way to earn a little bit extra honing materials and shards in particular while you're supporting your guild, which you should hopefully be doing. So the fourth tip I'm going to give you today is to go back and do dungeons on hard mode in order to earn shards. You might not know this, but the dungeons that you do as part of the story, if you go back and do them on hard mode, you will be able to earn shards. You can also do them on hard mode the first time you're going through the story if you want to get the shards ahead of time. But for instance, here in Tier 2 in Phaeton, I am going back to Shady Cliff, the Ruined Castle instance, and you'll see that on normal mode you obtain some honing shards, or honing stones, pardon me. But if you switch the difficulty to hard, you will actually get a chest that gives you some life shard pouches and some life leap stones. This is a really nice way of getting extra shards, and you can do this with any dungeon that you do during the storyline. So for instance, around about Yorn, the Wonderful Brewery, for example, is another dungeon that you can get extra shards from by doing it in hard mode. Or for Tier 1, you can do the dungeon, I can't remember their name, I'm sorry, the dungeons in Rohindel that you do during the storyline for Tier 1 shards. You can also do that as an extra way of getting extra shards. The fifth tip I'll give you today is to do Chaos Rifts. So you might have noticed when you get to level 50 that the alarm function at the top left of the screen is often telling you about Chaos Rifts of various eye levels spawning in various places around the globe. If you do Chaos Rifts that are appropriate to your eye level, you can get quite a lot of shards from this. Another really nice thing about this is that you get quite a lot of breaths. These are a type of kind of crystal gem looking material that you can use in hones in order to increase the success rate. These are actually quite difficult to get a hold of, so it's a really good idea to do the maps that drop when you complete the Chaos Rift. Another really nice thing about Chaos Rifts is that if you do them with friends, it actually doesn't split the rewards, it gives everybody a copy of the rewards that you get from the rift. So for example, if you and 3 friends do a rift together, you can all get some goodies and it won't give you any less than it would have if you did it solo, and they're really easy to do. So go into the Chaos Rift, complete it, get the map, and then do the little treasure map, and you will find that this is a really nice way to get extra honing materials that you might not have known about. Tip number 6 is to find these T and Libra guild vessel ships outside of major city hubs and trade with them some pirate coins in order to get extra honing materials, in particular shards. If you're trading for shards, it can be a little bit expensive, so make sure that you keep doing dailies or various kind of sea ship related activities in order to keep earning pirate coins. It is very much worth it because you can get these really nice Harmony shard pouches from these vessels. They're all linked together and they have a weekly limit. I'm not always 100% sure exactly where they'll spawn, but if you keep looking from city to city, you'll eventually find them. They do like to travel around, and when you trade with these ships, you will be able to get a lot of extra shards. Do bear in mind as well that the honing materials that you get from these ships are actually tradable, which might be a nice little bonus for you if you want to ferry some materials to an alt, for example. The 7th tip I'll give you, this is a small one, but you might find that some side quests that you have skipped in certain areas also had honing materials as a reward, so if you go back and do these, you might be able to get a little bit of extra pocket change, so to speak. Also, as a quick reminder, you do get sometimes honing materials from doing your welcome challenges, so if you haven't checked in a while, you might find that you have some honing materials here in your welcome challenges that you have not previously claimed, or you might find that if you check the welcome challenges, there might be one that you could easily go and do that could help you out with some honing materials, or that you could claim to give you a nice little bump. And finally, the 8th tip I'll give you, which is by far the most contentious, is to use the Lost Ark Store. You might not want to use real world money in order to get extra honing materials in this game, but you actually don't really have to do this in Lost Ark. You can use the gold that you've earned in-game in order to exchange for the blue crystals that you can use to buy the honing materials. So let me walk you through this because it's a little confusing, and to be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure about this process myself, so if I say anything that's a little inaccurate here, do forgive me. It's a bit confusing if I'm I'm being honest with you, but here's the basics. First of all, you have Mary's Secret Shop here on the right. You can see that the stock rotates on a timer, and it has a variety of honing materials that you can buy here, including life shard pouches. I could get 2,500 life shards by purchasing this life shard pouch small times 5 for 19 crystals, which is actually not that much in the long scheme of things. So in order to get the crystals for this, if you don't have them already, what you need to do is you need to go to the currency exchange and you go to buy crystals. So what you basically are doing here is you're offering a certain amount of gold in order to get a certain amount of crystals in return. And the price of this will fluctuate depending on how much gold people have and various levels of demand, etc. So the game is recommending that I try and put up this listing here for 343 gold in order to get 95 crystals. I can actually do a bigger listing if I want, so I could get like more crystals for more gold here if I wanted to. But if I wanted to get 95 crystals for 343 gold, what I would do is I would put up a listing. I tried to do a listing before here, but it recommended me a really low price, so I'm going to take that back off again, excuse me. I would put up a listing for about 343 gold, add that. You pay a transaction fee of 5 crystals. Do bear in mind that the price of this can fluctuate depending on like trends with players and stuff. Your mileage may vary. And for me, I immediately got the 95 crystals here. If you're kind of lowballing the price, then you might find you have to wait a while until you manage to get a sale. But I immediately got the 95 crystals. Then at the top here, you go over to your history and you go on to this panel and you can obtain any crystals or gold that you've managed to obtain through the currency exchange through here. So I can claim the 95 crystals like so. And now that I have my 95 extra crystals, I can very easily buy this life shard pouch product here for 19 crystals. And then just claim them like so. And that's it. So it's kind of nice to think that actually you don't really need to spend real world money in order to use Mary's Secret Store. The crystal prices for this are quite cheap, and you can get the crystals that you need to buy these listings fairly easily with gold. That was about 300 gold for me, and I have about 1,200 at the moment. I've been spending quite a lot of gold and other things as it is. So this is an option for those of you who are quite good at making money in the game. But if this isn't for you, then of course you could use some of the other tips that I've shown you in the video. And that's it, 8 simple tips in order to get extra shards. I hope that this video has been beneficial to you. It really has helped me in getting to tier 2 and nearly tier 3 myself as of recording this video in order to speed up my progress a little bit. And I know that shards can be a bit of a pain to keep accruing, so hopefully this has made things a little bit easier for you. As always, thank you to my Patreons, including 2 new Patreons, Saucy and Steven. Thank you so much for signing up for the Patreon to continue supporting me in making Lost Ark content. And thanks to everybody who's been watching the streams as well. I've been having a lot of fun streaming Lost Ark, and hopefully I have a lot more tips and fun videos for you all to come in the future. Regardless, this has been Sinow. Take care, all the best, goodbye.